Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Back to Red podcast, episode number 28. I am your co-host, Tim.
And I'm Nobe.
We had a little bit of technical difficulties getting started up, but hopefully we're getting some people. So again, I've been going through this for the last 4 times. I'm going to quit saying it after a while. No, I won't, because you guys don't know what's going on. But we're doing this on Google Hangouts on Air, so you can check out our Facebook page before the episodes to figure out what times we're doing this, and then come join us online and ask questions and interact with us and stuff.
Yes.
So how's your week, sir?
How's my week? Well, it just started. It's going okay. For those of you that cannot see the picture, you just put up a red Starbucks cup. That's awesome.
Can you read this?
It says Joshua F is an idiot. Did you ask them to put that on there?
No. Hopefully it takes offense of it and calls in.
That is hilarious.
There would be some fun things, some fun things to discuss with him.
Oh gosh, that is hilarious.
So we're doing this podcast on Monday night. This is the latest we've ever done it before. Oh yeah, and let me say this before I forget. I think on Thursday of this week, it's our 1-year anniversary of doing this.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. But normally on Mondays, Ness and I go to the St. Pete Brewery. They have $3 barley pops.
Nice.
So I'm a little lubricated right now. So if I say some funny stuff, you'll have to give me a little bit of leeway on that.
Okay. I don't know if I'd use the word lubricated. That's a little
lubricated.
It's a sexual thing that I wouldn't use. I haven't had a drink at all. I'm drinking water right now. So
how was your week, Nobe?
It's so far so good. I mean, I haven't done much. It's only Monday. Went and worked out, and that's boring. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that is not boring, but nope, that's it. I haven't really done much yet. I went to a comedy club Friday. Comedy show. It was like a skit thing, kind of like a Saturday Night Live, but obviously at the Cavalier Theater here. It's pretty good. I mean, it's hit or miss. Some things were very funny and some things weren't. But have you ever been in the Cavalier?
No, I've been by it a couple times. I actually was going to do the website for the owner because he bought the Cavalier Lounge and he bought that place next door or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but we never got around to going there. I heard it's a pretty cool place. I've seen pictures of it. It's pretty cool.
It's really cool. It's like old school, like 70s, kind of like the Starlight Lounge is kind of old school furniture. It has old, like the rounded booths where you can sit all around, padding, and so it's cool. It's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's hard to explain, but so
sweet. Yeah. I never got down there though. Yeah, we had kind of a cool week. Have you ever seen an armadillo before?
In real life, no.
In real life. Hey, I can hear that squeak. Remember when we used to do the podcast there and that stupid
the heat is on. And I'm keeping it on. So you guys are going to have to freaking deal with that and possibly a baby.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't turned on the heat yet.
Yeah, I wonder why. Sorry.
Yeah.
But back to the squeaking.
Yeah. Well, back to the armadillo. It's one of the weirdest creatures to see in the wild. Like it doesn't look like it belongs like in this century. It kind of looks like a little weird dinosaur looking thing.
Yeah, it's creepy. I mean, like I've seen pictures and stuff. I wouldn't want to see it for real.
Well, you always see them on the side of the road in Florida. Like up north, you have raccoons, right?
Right.
In Florida, you have armadillos.
Well, you never see raccoons. You just only see the aftermath of them getting in the garbage or something.
Yeah. Well, you don't see armadillos either. That's what I was going to say. Like, it's almost a mythical creature here in Florida. Like, they don't really exist. You know, you only see them on the side of the road. But we went hiking, and we got probably about 4 feet, maybe less, from them. It was kind of cool. Did you know that armadillos carry leprosy?
No, I did not know that.
They do.
Do they bite or sting, or what do they do?
I don't know. They're kind of a rodent-y looking thing in a shell. They're kind of weird.
Yeah.
Looks like a rodent, but I can see why people touch them because they're kind of cool looking, and they just sit there. And I think because they have their shell, they're not afraid. They're like, I don't care. You can touch me. You can come try to get me. You're not going to hurt me. So
guess what I saw this week?
And I have leprosy, and I'll kill you.
Speaking of nature,
let's hear it.
I saw 2 eagles today out on the.
Did you?
Out over the water.
Is that the first eagles
I'm pretty sure they were eagles. I'm not sure, but you're like always telling me, oh, there's eagles. And then I thought, those are 2 very big birds. They must be eagles.
Do they have bald heads?
Like I have not confirmed or denied the fact that those are eagles, but they are pretty good. Yeah. It looked like they could be.
Nobe is from La Crosse, Wisconsin. And La Crosse is right in between Minnesota and Wisconsin, where the Mississippi runs. Mm-hmm. So the great old Mississippi. So there's a lot of bald eagles up in that area. And he lives, how far are you? Like maybe a half mile from the Mississippi?
Yeah, I'm probably about a half mile. Yep.
Yeah. And he's never seen eagles, and there's eagles there all the time.
I know, like, we're known for it, but we had that conversation. No one believed me, but I finally think I saw them the other day. Can't confirm or deny. It could have been a vulture for all I know, but it looks pretty good. They look like they're swooping like eagles, kind of cool like that. But, so that was interesting.
Yep. Yeah, they're kind of cool. They're if you can get close to them, they're huge. They're just huge birds. Like, I swear they look like they're probably not 4 feet tall, but they look like they're 4 feet tall.
I've been close to them, like at bird shows and stuff at the zoo.
Right.
But that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're cool birds.
So I went, our trivia team had a drinking day Saturday. So
spent all the gift certificates.
Yeah, come 10 o'clock Saturday morning, we were drinking a couple Bloody Marys. And then I had a brandy old fashioned with some olives in it. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Because I don't like sweet stuff. So I kind of like to have the more savory, salty taste. So you can't hear that anymore, that squeaking, can you? Because I got my foot on it.
Do you?
I'm like, I am literally right above it. So I have my feet
we used to freeze the people out of Nope's house because the stupid thing would squeak. Would be like, we're going to turn it off, and then of course it's negative 50 in La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a big week.
Why?
Been a lot of stuff that's happened.
Oh, you mean the stuff we talked about? It almost ruined my night last night.
Yeah.
Here I am sitting by myself. No, I was sitting there with Becky waiting for Walking Dead to start. And someone posted that video. Actually, I don't even know if someone posted it, but it was on USA Today. I mean, it's getting national news. And then I watched the video, and then I almost threw my phone across the room. I was so annoyed.
Have you seen this guy before or no?
I feel like I should have.
Yeah.
But maybe he's done it. I think I've seen him once before, but I can't remember what he was talking about when I saw him the last time I saw him. Because I remember the backwards hat, maybe, and that just cheesy voice he's using, that evangelical evangelist voice. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I totally know what you're talking about, yeah.
I'm just like, just listening to him, I was just freaking the heck out.
Yeah. Yeah, and now it's just like, I don't know. It's being like blown way out of proportion. And I think it's just this one dude that's feeling it too. You know, that's kind of like all the news articles and stuff are coming back to this. I don't even know how to say his last name. Do you know how to say his last name?
No, Feuerstein or something like that.
We'll just call him F because he's an Effer.
Yikes. We are less than perfect. I know people that's our first review. Less than perfect.
Yeah, which is perfect. So, no, he's been in the news a couple times. Like, first of all, he has like 1 million plus followers.
Yeah,
so he's got like a ton of people that that follow him, and he's kind of an idiot. You know, he's just like, he kind of just talks without. I don't know. He's like what we grew up with, but only like to the extent that there's no possible way he's wrong. You know, but he talks a lot like on gay issues. He talks a lot on like the rapture coming and all these type of things. But he's been in the news quite a few times. I guess he's an ex-pastor. I tried looking him up a little bit because I kind of want to do some character assassination, but there's not a whole lot on him out there.
Jason wants to know what an effer is.
An effer? Yeah. Where'd you see that?
It was up in the questions.
Oh, was it? I should
It's
get
like
that.
It's an MFer without the M.
Yeah.
Right? We took
We'll
the M
back.
out of effer. MFer.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Was he in chat?
We're definitely going to hell for that one. This guy, here's the thing. What was so strikingly bad for me is how offensive he was completely in every possible way in that video. Like,
Right.
He hit every tone. Like, when he came out and pulled out his gun at the end, I almost lost it. I looked at my wife and I was spewing expletives. I was like, and she's looking at me like, oh my.
Yep.
But I was playing the video so she could hear it too, and she was just shaking her head like. He talked about the gun thing. I mean, taking Christ out of all it is a red stupid cup, right? I mean, and yes, red is associated with Christmas, right? And the green symbol. And what the hell are you making this whole big issue over?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. At first, like when you posted the article, I was like, hey, I'm getting a little fired up about this too. But now it like blew up in Facebook, and I almost don't even want to talk about it because everybody's talking about it now. But
yeah.
But yeah, you're right. This guy's just trying to pick a fight. I mean, that's all he's doing right now is just like trying to make an issue out of something. And it's kind of funny, you know, when you think about like last year and like a lot of previous years, I guess Starbucks has been doing this since like 97 or something like that. But okay, so last year, let's take a step back and let's say they had a reindeer on their cup. What would this guy be upset about back then?
That they were using more about the Santa Claus story than the Jesus
exactly
story.
Right. Yep. So now we fast forward 1 year and now it's a red cup, you know. So it's like, is he fighting about not having reindeer on the cup now? Or I think they had ornaments on there or wreaths or something last year. You know what I mean? So it's the same argument from last year if you want to bring it to that extent. You know, it
Did
has
he
a
do
wreath
it
on
last
there.
year?
No. I'm just saying, like, the fact that he's making a stand about it this year, or anybody's making a stand about it this year is.
I mean, I get completely that he is basically just trying to stir the pot on purpose. You're an idiot. You're an idiot, but that's awesome.
That's going to be this week's picture too.
Right. If you can't see the video, it's awesome. But anyways, I know this is all exploitation. The problem is it's like gone viral. Which means, that can go both ways, right? It could go viral because there's people like us that are so against it, as well as people that support him, right?
Right.
Isn't that true, technically?
Yep.
But like I've read some of the comments and stuff and certain things, and I'm already done with it. I'm already calmed down from it, and I don't want to give it more news than it deserves, but it's just listening to the people that support him. I'm like, you got to. I don't know how anyone in their right mind supports what he just said and did, and doesn't realize how ridiculous this is.
Right.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
And like I said, like all the articles and stuff I read have referenced this guy. Like he is like the representation of Christianity, like some huge voice, and he's just some idiot. You know what I mean?
It's exactly.
Like to like for the media to blow up about this stupid bonehead. Well,
that's what I'm saying.
On the edge of being offensive to Christians. It's like, you got to be kidding me. I mean,
I saw it in USA Today, so it's national.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just
it was on CNN. It was like the third article. Christians are super upset. No, they're not. It's just this guy that's blowing it up, you know?
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Why the heck would you be upset about that? It's absolutely ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. But you're right. Bringing like the gun out at the end was probably the cream on the.
I know. I hope I don't offend you because with my guns right. Hey, this has nothing to do with guns rights. This is you standing in front of a store pulling out a gun.
Right.
I don't even know what kind of gun it was, but you're an idiot. Because I hate when they equate Jesus with guns, when they equate Jesus with war, the other thing he does, this is one of my biggest pet peeves, is when you say like you bring Americans as if Americans are synonymous with the best Christians. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, get this, Jesus wasn't born in Detroit. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't born in the U.S. of A. We don't have the corner market on the Jesus thing. Jesus is from Israel. He's from another country. So
Right.
it doesn't mean that we're the best and all Americans are the man. It drives me crazy.
Yeah. Well, let's. I have the video queued up here. Should I play it for the people that may not have heard it yet?
Yeah, it might give me more to spew about too.
All right. Well, let me double check. I remember how to do this here. Hold on one second. Still learning technology.
Dead air. Dead air is bad. I'm just going to keep talking while you do it. There you go.
All right. Can you see that? All right. Good deal. Here it goes.
You got to turn it up. That was hard to hear. I hope they can hear it later, but
yep. Well, we'll post the videos on our page, and I'll put it into the live or the final broadcast in better video form. But
I love how he says at the end, choose not to be politically correct, choose to be correct.
Right.
He's an idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm supposed to be a pacifist, but the whole time I'm thinking, I just want to punch this guy right in the face right now. Is that wrong?
No, I don't believe it is. This guy is at any rate, I think he's taken enough of our
time. Yes, I'm over it, but boy, guys, that is just the worst. The worst thing I've seen in a while.
Although Peter Enns,
go ahead.
Oh, Peter Enns actually wrote like kind of a really cool article on it. We posted it on our page. I don't know if you guys read it or not. I just want to read just a couple sentences from a couple paragraphs that he wrote on that because I think it's awesome. Let's see. He says, for me, standing up for Jesus means laying down my demands that the coffee shop I share with my non-Christian neighbors privilege my religion. For me, defending God means letting go of Merry Christmas so my non-Christian neighbors feel respected when I invite them to my holiday table. For me, keeping Christ in Christmas is not about winning the culture war, but about losing it.
Nice.
Yeah. And I thought that was just awesome because, like, you always hear these things about stand up for, like, religious freedom and, you know, how we need to be the light. You know, we have to show people what truth is and everything else. And Christianity is more about losing than it is about winning, you know, and that's like that concept always, like, reading that, like, kind of brought it all back. Like, why in the world are we doing this? This is completely opposite of what Christianity should be about. It's not about winning. It's about losing. You know,
that's definitely how Jesus modeled it anyways. And since we're back to red, I'm going to bring it back to that. Mm-hmm. I mean, he died. He was born in a manger. Right? Not in a palace.
Yep.
There's every example you can possibly get from Jesus's life that is the complete and total opposite of, I mean, I would think that Jesus would roll his eyes the second he saw him pull that gun, like it was some kind of rite or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peter Enns, That was a good article. And I've read a lot of people. And honestly, probably most of the stuff I'm reading are people that think he's crazy.
All right.
But every year we get this. Might not be Starbucks, but every year you hear the phrase "Keep Christ in Christmas."
Right.
Every year from someone.
I did a whole podcast on that last year, and how Christmas was invented.
Was that one of them?
Yeah. It was how Christmas was invented in a lot of aspects as a way to replace pagan holidays.
Oh yeah, you did a whole timeline on it, didn't you?
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll
can go back and listen, or repost it on the page or something.
There you go. I'll probably do it again this year because it was kind of an eye-opening thing that like Christ was never really the center of Christmas as we know it. It was added on by the Roman Church as Christ Mass, and then became this one thing, and then ever since then we're debating that Christ should be the center of Christmas. And I don't know.
Well, I never had a problem. I mean, I always think it's good to, like, I tell my kids when they were growing up that there's more than just Santa Claus and stuff, but it's all part of it. I never had an issue with Halloween. I never had an issue. We did all that stuff.
Right.
If there's anything I get more worked up, it's probably either my age or maybe it's because I worked in retail for so long. Like, I sometimes get frustrated with social media. As good as social media is and as beneficial as it is, and it allows us to do what we're doing now, and it allows us to meet people that we never would meet before, right? Mm-hmm. I also think it has taken away from our ability to conversate in one-to-one. Like, we use the computer a little bit too much. That's a whole debate, whether I'm right or not, but I feel that.
Did you just use the word conversate?
Conversate, yeah. I created that word.
That's nice.
I have a conversation one-on-one. We're losing that gift or art or whatever.
Right.
And then, like, my wife recently over the last 5 years has done the Black Friday thing. And I'm still like the guy that's like, you know what? When I was growing up, Sundays, stores weren't open on Sundays. Do you remember that?
Well, you grew up in another century than I did.
Yeah, well, whatever. But, like, stores weren't open on Sundays. And, like, I'm like, can you just wait until Thanksgiving's at least over?
Right.
Give people the day off. I feel like we have things going on all the time. We need time with our families and to chill.
There's some stores that are starting to take a stand on that, though. Like, I just saw something on Facebook or something about Nordstrom's that had something about them not being open, and that we should enjoy. They feel like people should enjoy one holiday at a time. And I thought that was kind of cool, Yeah,
I agree with that.
And there's been a couple other stores I think that have done that, but again, it's a political, it's like a PR thing, though. It's like, right. I don't know. It seems like it's calculated. It seems like
it could be.
Maybe not, but I guess if you're somebody like Nordstrom's, you're kind of in a, in your own category, so you can get away with some of that type of stuff.
Yeah, I know, like Home Depot did it, and I'm like, yeah, well, no one's lining outside of Home Depot to get the rush in to get a chainsaw. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah. Well, that's an awesome stands, Home Depot, but no one wants to be there anyways.
Yeah, I will say that it is interesting that the majority of, because you've heard of Black Friday, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So the majority of retailers' sales that they make come after Thanksgiving because of one holiday, which is Christmas. So regardless of whatever your religious things are, keep Christ in Christmas or whatever else, I think it's interesting that stores or try to be so politically correct when Christmas is really their money making holiday,
Yeah.
So I always thought that was kind of, I don't know, hypocritical to some extent that they would.
Not to mention the fact those people that are saying keep Christ in Christmas are probably the first ones that are out there at midnight going out looking around, and so that kind of loses its value too. Either way, we're talking about this like it's a deep issue, but it's really some bozo making a big to-do about absolutely nothing.
And the media running with it, right?
Oh, my gosh. Well, I hate the media anyways.
Right.
I mean, after Deflategate, I'm totally like, the media is completely stupid. I can't believe it. Things they run with.
Yeah, it should just be interesting. I mean, we're still 2 months away from Christmas, a month and a half away from Christmas. And these things are already starting to blow up. So it's just stop fighting this stupid culture war. That's kind of what it.
We got a question, buddy.
Let's hear it.
Do you guys think the red cup thing is a Starbucks marketing stunt?
Yep, that's from John. How do you say his last name?
Oh gosh, I was hoping you wouldn't say that.
Ayala.
I think it's Ayala.
Okay.
Hopefully you can confirm that. I think I said it right. I'm feeling confident that it's Ayala.
Yep.
I don't think it is. Do you? Like, I was thinking about this today, even while I do all my thinking, either before I go to sleep at night or in the shower. So have that picture in your mind. But I like, was thinking
it's a small picture that's coming in my mind.
It's a very small picture. Yeah. But I was thinking to myself, really, I can't imagine a bunch of guys in the back room going, you know what we should do to piss off the Christians? Let's just make our cups red. And this will just totally freaking piss them off. Yeah. And now to go with what John's asking, then it will be like free marketing.
Right.
Do you think they're thinking that?
I don't know. They did have a very sophisticated response to the whole thing. You know, and if you read their response, it's kind of they're saying that they want to show respect for all their customers instead of excluding some or whatever else around this time. So they want to bring like all face into this idea of Christmas is kind of what they're saying. But to John's question, it sure seemed like a very nicely prepared spiel. You know, like they knew what was coming. So I don't know. I don't know if Starbucks needs more marketing, but.
Well, I will say this. I mean, Christians are pretty, I don't know if the word I'm looking for is dependable or reliable on if they get offended at anything. Right. I mean, I definitely don't think the guy, what's his name, Jason, did the video. Yeah. I don't think they like asked Jason to do it.
No, his name was Joshua F.
Oh, see, he just asked it too. Do you think the guy is being paid by Starbucks? Is what I mean. I really don't think so. No, I mean, because you showed videos of him before. You said he's done videos before, right? Right.
Yeah, he's done things like how to destroy atheism in 3 minutes, and it's just like all the crap you've always heard or whatever. But he's been around for a while, and he has, like I said, over 1 million people that are following him.
Although I am always willing to go for a conspiracy theory, but yeah, I do think there's a mass murderer here in La Crosse, so that's just me.
You can look that up if you're wondering what he's talking about. It's kind of funny. You said something about age, getting worked up about age. I was listening to a podcast, Drunk Ex-Pastors. Have you ever heard that? You've heard that one before, right?
Yeah, we've recommended that.
We've talked about it. Yeah. But one of the things they said kind of cracked me up and made me think about it a little differently. He said, when you wake up in the morning, that's the best you will feel for the rest of your life. And I thought that was like he was talking about like getting all these weird pains and like he wakes up with a backache and he was like fine the day before. But he said that when you wake up in the morning, that's the best you'll feel for the rest of your life. So tomorrow you'll probably feel a little worse, you know, and that's kind of a weird.
I feel terrible when I wake up in the morning. My feet hurt. Every part of my body hurts.
But that's it.
Like coffee.
This morning is the best you'll ever feel for the rest of your life.
That's probably true. There's a little bit of truth in that. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
All it takes is a little Starbucks to make me feel better. Starbucks isn't even my favorite. Like, I like their, do I like their coffee? I like their coffee, but they're not my first choice. Let me put it that way. I go to a Dunkin' Donuts in a heartbeat before I'd go to a Starbucks.
Yep. Yeah, and we have Caribou up there too, which is pretty good.
Caribou is good. Yeah. I think I'm getting better. I think I'm starting to move away from bitterness. Just when I think I'm getting better, they pull me back in. That Jason guy. No. Like I am
Joshua.
I've been listening to Joshua or whatever. See, his name doesn't even mean anything to me, but listening to Robcast. I'm listening to Rob Bell. I just started it, so I'm not. But he has like 5 episodes on forgiving, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to think about who I need to forgive and move on.
Yeah, forgiveness.
Ah, crap. Come on, man. think I'm coming out of it. I think Nobe is starting to come out of his bitterness.
This actually isn't coffee either. This is water. If you're wondering why I'm drinking this late at night.
You're such a, oh my word, that's such false advertising, man.
Yep. Well, I just want to be legit, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And then we posted another art. You posted another link this week.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually reading a book called, oh crap, I should have got that. Something like When Religion Becomes a Drug. Crap.
I'll look it up. You tell us about it.
I should have had that here. It's by Father Leo Booth. And so I have a friend, I had some friends, they're actually Grateful Red listeners that gave me the book probably about 1.5 years ago. That's about how long it takes me to get to these book things. But anyways, and I started reading it, and wow, it's very eye-opening. It's old, you know, it's like he makes a lot of references to like Jim Baker and Swaggart. And I went on YouTube, and there's some videos of him being interviewed, and he talks about Jim Jones and stuff like that, because they ask him, why do you call it an addiction? Isn't it just an obsession? Right. And he's like, well, I would say the Jim Jones clan, you know, David Koresh, the Waco, that's probably leaning more towards addiction, you know?
Right.
So I thought I would just share some things from that, because I just think,
right.
Even
so
if I haven't, go ahead.
Yep. The book is called When God Becomes a Drug.
Yeah.
Father Leo Booth.
Yeah. And he's an Episcopalian priest. And I don't know if I've suffered from addiction. I've probably certainly been on the border of it, but it's more, I definitely have experienced the abuse. So he says, so everything I got here, I got some notes here. Everything I'm getting from this, I'm saying today, is pretty much from the book. So he talks about religious addiction starts as a cultural bad habit. So it's a lot like if you're an alcoholic, obviously you start social drinking, and then you start doing that a little bit too much. And then when it comes, you start making it more of a habit, it becomes alcohol. You can easily slip into alcoholism. Not like I'm pointing fingers at you, even though you're frozen right now. Are you okay? I think I just lost. I think I might have just lost connection. Let me check here. Yep, I lost him. I don't know where he went. Oh, I'm ready to keep going. Keep going, bro. I'm getting auto-only. I lost the video feed, so I don't know if you guys are still around or if I'm out in La La Land.
Oh, it looks like me.
I either lost him or he lost me. Can anyone else hear me or Tim? Trying to figure out which one of us got kicked. Do you guys have Rocky on the show?
Hey, buddy, can you hear me?
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. Like,
I don't know. I got kicked off, I think.
You got kicked off?
Yeah, okay, I think it was my fault. I don't see your video anymore though.
Okay, let me see. Enable your video, increase your bandwidth here. I bet you I turned it down trying to get you back. Hold on just a second. There you go. Can you hear you? Okay, I heard Tim a minute ago as well. Okay, here we go. We're back.
I still don't see you. Do you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Oh, I think you're coming back.
Wow, technology. Okay, so John and Jason could hear me the whole time, but Tim left. What a loser. Oh yeah, that's something to live by. I'll be holding that against you, techie
Yeah,
guy.
that's all right. That's all right.
Okay, we're back. So,
I still don't see you though. I just see a black screen.
really? I put the bandwidth back up. Why the heck is its problem?
Go up and see if your video is on or not. Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Okay, now we got it.
All right.
Sorry. So, anyways, what was I talking about? A religious addiction is just like alcohol, like anything else. It's whenever you depend on it. So, just to start in, before I get into the symptoms, he listed some functions in society. One is to avoid error in order to escape punishment. So in other words, I think as human beings, we like to have the black and white stuff. We like to know what's right and wrong, and we want people to tell us what's right or wrong. Mm-hmm. And when I was thinking about today, what's punishment? Well, yeah, typically it's heaven or hell, right? It's hell.
Right.
But there's also punishment, like as in consequences to our actions. If we do stupid things, sometimes there are bad consequences. So we're trying to avoid them. The religion functions in society to compensate for deprivations and suffering. So when we've gone through something, like I lost my father growing up, obviously that was probably the first place I looked, was religion, church, whatever. And number 3 is to provide rules for correct behavior, to be perfect so that rewards are guaranteed. So the opposite is true, from punishment to rewards. And then 4, to maintain social order, often by the clergy or others seeking power, and to salve their consciousness for those who abuse it. So basically the idea that, I think this is more a Roman Catholic thing in history, where they were really going after power, but for sure clergy have a lot of power in society. Wouldn't you say that's true?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. So it's a way of being abused. I mean, when we talk about the addiction, when I get to some of the symptoms, we're going to see it's a way of giving up control, and clergy have a lot of control. What do you think? Do you think that's correct, some of those functions that they're saying? Can you think of any others?
So this will be, these are things that, of reasons why that addiction is a thing, right?
Right. Like, or at this point, I'm just saying, what are some reasons people turn to the church? What are some functions the church does? Like, I used to play a game called Civilization. You've ever heard of it?
Yep, I have.
Where you build it up. It's like you could spend so many hours playing that dumb game and you'd be like, oh my gosh, it's 6 hours later. But you'd build cities from scratch. So you'd start with one village and then build cities, and your cities would have, like, at times, civil unrest. And some of the ways you could make it better is build a sports stadium, build a church, or change government, something like that. Right. So it's interesting how the church functions in those ways, that we look to the church for certain reasons.
Right.
That's how I would look at that question, the functions. Why do we look to churches? How does it affect our culture, I guess?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I definitely agree with all those reasons. Like church, that's why you see church and government bound so closely, like throughout history. It's like a way that we can kind of, kind of control religion to an aspect, which allows us to control other things as well. Because I think, we talked about it a lot of time on the show. Everybody, I think, has kind of a spiritual dwelling or drawing, to different things or whatever else. So if you can put those things in human terms and put human labels on them, it makes it all easier for us to understand and, control in a lot of aspects.
Right. Right. Okay. So we kind of got that down. I'll go into the symptoms now, and I asked people for which ones they would agree with that they've been affected by, and most everyone said the first 3. Right. I know you made fun of the food one, but although
some of them were kind of funny, like, what?
Well, food, think about food. I was telling my wife, think about food. The church tells you can't have sex. Sex is bad. No movies, no songs. Certainly drinking's bad, right? But the
Right.
one thing they don't really have too much of an issue with is food.
Right.
They even have food surrounded in every possible thing they do. And so it can become an addiction. So
Right.
that way, you know.
Did you want to run through all the ones quick? It's kind of
I'm
a
just
list of
gonna,
what.
yeah, I'm gonna just, well, I'm not gonna do all of them. I'm just doing the first three.
Okay. Are you going to do more next week too, you think, or what?
Well, all the symptoms are on the Facebook page.
Right. I thought you were going to do it like over 2 weeks, though.
Well, the 2 weeks, next week, I'm going to talk about some of how to get over them, like
Gotcha.
the positive part of it.
All right.
The first one's called, which goes great with our podcast because this is pretty much what we've been fighting against. The first one's inability to think, doubt, or question information or authority.
Right.
That's the first symptom. If you cannot question or examine what you are, or doubt or challenge authority, you are in danger of being victimized or abused. So basically, if you're being told that you can't examine or question anything, then you are possibly on the border of being abused. You could be abused. You could be taken advantage of.
You know what that reminds me of?
What?
North Korea, and how like they are so censored. You know what I mean? Like there is literally an inability to ask those questions. It's not a possibility for them, to ask whether or not these things are true or whatever.
And why is that?
Just because it's so controlled.
Right.
There's been people throughout time, which I guess kind of goes with what you were saying, that have decided that the best way to control people is to limit their information, or have some type of severe consequences. Look in the Catholic Church back in the day, it was excommunication, right? You just had no ability to do it, and then, definitely growing up in that conservative, asking the questions that we ask on the show would be enough to get you, essentially kicked out of the schools we went to and the churches and everything else. So it was like that. You either agree with me or you're not one of us, go find another community to be a part of.
Yeah, I mean, I think half the things they told us growing up was a way to control us. Like, I think they say suicide is the number one thing you could do. You'll go straight to hell for it, is because obviously, and not for a bad reason, because we don't want people to commit suicide, but it's to keep you from doing it, right? Why is sex so bad? Because they're trying to keep you from having premarital sex, ending up with a baby, whatever, Right. I mean, I think and honestly, I think some of that stuff, I don't think there's, on the premarital sex, there is actually, I think the Bible does teach things in certain ways to help you live the best that you can. But I'm talking about the church and how they translate that back to us, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? And then the big lie they've always told, I read this and I was like, this is so true. How they table it is doubt, questioning, thinking is a lack of faith. And ultimately, if you lack faith, it leads to disobedience, and then it means the devil's in your life or something like that.
Right.
And I thought he was so right on with that. Like, if you question, then you must be doubting what God's told you.
Right. Yeah, I always kind of look at it as a counterbalance. So if you look at like a teeter-totter type situation, so faith is on one end and doubt is on the other, and you can only have as much faith as you're willing to have doubt on the other side. So the more you can doubt and the more you can get outside that, the stronger your faith can be. That's kind of always the way I looked at it. And it's totally not the way that a lot of churches, a lot of people, definitely us growing up, were ever taught, is that, you have faith because of what I say, but you can never, like you can only have as much white as there is black to understand black,
Right.
It's like the whole question about why is there evil in the world? There's so much evil in the world because there's so much good, right? So good to the extent, so we know good to the extent that we know bad to be,
right?
To the extent of it. So it's just always kind of that interesting concept that I guess that didn't come clear to me until pretty recently, actually. That's why doubt is so crucial. You have to be able to doubt, otherwise your faith is not faith. It's not faith, it's what it comes down to.
Well, it's just like in maturity or growth. I've grown way more in the valleys than I ever did in the highs,
right.
I'm saying, the struggles. And so to me, the struggles come from questioning and doubting, and it's scary. It's kind of like part of the reason people like the other one, we'll get to that in the next one, that will be about fear, but part of the reason they like the idea of not questioning and doubting that it's all laid out for them is because otherwise it's very scary.
Right.
You know, and he says a statement that just blew my mind. He said, "Do not hand over your authority, your responsibility for your life." And he said, think about the church. So many people hand over their control of their life to their finances, to their beliefs, to their relationships, to their employment, and to their destiny. They basically hand all that over to clergy.
Right.
So often, you know.
Right.
I mean, I used to be a pastor, so I know that is true. I mean, I never sought that out, but people sometimes just meet with you because they want you to tell you how to live, how to do things. And I've never been the person to do that, but so easy.
Right.
He also wrote in kind of the positive, when you use critical faculties to analyze, interpret, explore, and question, you discover new shades of meaning and greater richness in God's truth. It all leads to dialogue with God. So all that questioning, all that doubt leads to a better, and that's true. I mean, it's the same with an alcoholic. You know, you got to finally admit that you have a problem and then fight through it. It's okay. Like I'm reading Peter Enz's book again. In that first chapter, he talks about this. This is all part of the journey. This is a better way to look at the Bible, is to question it and figure it out and find out what the story is. And it's okay if it doesn't all add up. It's okay if it doesn't fit in a nice little box. In fact, it's more freeing that way, you know?
Yep.
So, all right. Anything else to add to that?
Nope.
Okay. The second one is black and white simplistic thinking. This is where the fear happens. View life in terms of right or wrong, good or bad, saved or sinner. Real life is seldom black and white, so you may struggle to cope with issues. I can't even read my own writing. Can't to cope with issues in your life that arise that don't have simple black and white answers to them. You limit and stunt your life by rejecting anyone or anything that does not fit into your narrow frame of reference. So basically, a person that's addicted to religion likes the black and white simplistic thinking, likes to be told the narrow view of things. And when life doesn't add up that way, because it never does, right? People are complicated. Life kind of sucks at times. They don't know how to handle it.
Right. Yeah. And I would say this kind of fits, we've talked about a lot of times, several times on the show, the whole Calvinism debate and how it's so structured, you know, how it's so boxy. Like, this is what you believe, this is what you believe. And that's, you know, this is what we get comfort in, and knowing that we understand God or whatever, you know. I think that's a big part of it too, is to know that, like, we all want to know that we're good with God. Right. We all want to know that that God's not mad at us or disappointed in us. So if we can have a, you know, in a lot of ways, like when you look in the Bible, the original Israelites had Leviticus, right? So they had like laws, you know, there's a ton of laws, but it was like essentially a checklist, you know, if you do these type of things, you'll be okay with God. And that was very, very black and white. And then Jesus came along, and all of a sudden we have back to red, right? We have all these colors and all these different things that are introduced. So I think as humans, we want that grid system, you know, to an extent, because it's pretty easy to know, you know. In other words, if let's say like me and Ness, for instance, I have a list of things that I'll be happy if she does, you know, and I give it, you know, 3 or whatever, 10 different items that if she follows these things every day, then we're cool, you know, then she's fine with me. So to one extent, it would, to her, after doing those 10 things, she knows that we're okay, but that isn't love, you know, that's not that love relationship or whatever.
Right.
But I think we all kind of desire that structure, that knowing we're cool, you know, knowing that we're legit.
That's part of what I loved about Jesus. A lot of things he said, you have heard it said, but I say, right. You know, he turns it on it. He turns everything upside down.
Yep. Yeah, and to like a Jewish person, which was told that this is it, you know, that grid, you heard it said, right. It was like the turn the cheek thing, right?
Right.
You know, you heard it said that, I don't remember what it is, but essentially turn your cheek. Right. If they strike you, turn your cheek, let them strike you again. There's no recourse.
Well, it used to be said it was an eye for an eye.
Right. There you go. Yep.
Eye for an eye. So he says, no, turn your cheek.
Right.
The other thing is like the soldier, like if a soldier asked to carry his backpack, carry it for so long. And he says, carry it an extra amount,
Right. Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what it is. This is a mile or whatever. I don't know what it meant. That's interesting. I mean, and I think Jesus does always ask us to step up, especially in those humble, humility, peaceful areas like Brian Zahn's always talking about and Greg Boyd.
Right.
If they were having an exchange, well, Greg Boyd was having an interesting thing today all about the national anthem. Like he's like, I finally am listening to the words of the national anthem and wondering, is that what we should be, on the whole pace thing? I don't want to go down a rabbit trail, but maybe look up Greg Boyd and some of his Twitters today. It was interesting.
Right.
And then the last one's a big one. It's really always been a pet peeve of mine. And even when I was full in the pastor thing and the full in into it always bothered me when I heard pastors or just other believers talking about how we are all broken and we suck and, every possible horrible thing because, and then turn it like we suck, but Jesus makes us better. That's always bothered me. So number 3 is shame-based belief that you aren't good enough or that you aren't doing it right. So he says religious addicts as well as other addictions as well as other addictions is an attempt to escape this pervasive sense of shame and inadequacy. Shame-based thinking is in the belief that you don't make mistakes, that you are the mistake. Like religion is something we kind of turn to because we all deal at one level or another with some self-image issues. Like there's something inherently wrong with us.
Right.
You can constantly feel like a failure, and this feeling leads to codependency and people pleasing in an attempt to find approval from others, and I'm sure that includes God. This type of thinking cheats you out of the opportunity to discover and nurture your own inner strength. Never say, I did this, rather, God did this for me. That's what I'm always hearing. Like there's no possible way that you can say you did this. And how I would relate this personally is in my weight loss. Like I prayed all the time for God to just take my desire for overeating away. And it's kind of a bait and switch because we're always being told by clergy in the church that just ask and God will do it. Just ask and God will do it,
Right.
But the truth is, didn't God create us all, including myself? And there's plenty of people I know now that have lost weight when they thought they could never do it. Or it doesn't even have to be weight, but I'm just doing it for me. That's my personal thing. Hasn't God created me with the potential to have the willpower and the discipline to do it? I just need to do it. Does that take any less away from God that I was able to do that, or someone else was able to stop drinking, or someone else is able, like they take the human element completely out of it. And that's always bothered me.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it is interesting with that because I've heard that plenty of times too, growing up that we're nothing without God, and all these type of things. And that mixes in with the whole drug thing, because if you look at like people that are addicted to drugs, for instance, they feel like they're nothing without the drugs, right? They have to have the drugs in order to make them significant in some point, some way or another. So it's kind of interesting, that's the third point. I definitely believe that is definitely a way that you can be addicted.
Right.
What are you doing?
I'm sorry, I was grabbing the book in case you guys wanted to talk about that. But anyways, those are the top 3. Sorry, was I making a lot of noise?
No, you just kind of disappeared on us.
Yeah, I sneezed too, and at least that time I was smart enough to shut off my microphone, so you didn't hear me sneeze and cough. That would have been good. But I was just trying to find the whole thing to see if there was any others were there any others that stood out to you?
There was one towards the bottom. Remember? Hold on, let me grab that quick. Yeah. Let's see. Compulsive overeating or excessive fasting. I don't know if that's the one that I kind of said was kind of funny, because I don't see like religion being a drug making me overeat necessarily. But let's see.
Conflict with science, medicine, and education. That's a big one,
That is a
right?
big
That
one,
kind
yeah.
of falls even in this one of the idea that, the over influence of clergy and stuff. I mean, they can actually talk people out of taking medicines that would help them, whether it's health wise or mental health wise.
Yep.
Mental health wise is a big one. You don't have enough faith to heal yourself, you shouldn't be taking medicine. You don't have enough faith that God will heal you. It's all on you, not the medicine, not the fact that you're just not taking the medicine or looking for help from a doctor.
Right. Psychosomatic illness, sleeplessness, back pains, headaches, hypertension. That's another one of those ones that I don't really get too much.
You don't believe it? I think we have to start looking at religion as that there is an addiction in there. There can be an addiction in there. I think.
Right.
I think that. Go ahead.
Do you think there's a place for an addictive quality in religion?
I think yes. I mean, I see it more in other people. I think it's hard right now where I'm at because I'm kind of opening my eyes up to it. But if you go to any big church right now, you're going to see, I mean, a kind of an addiction to it. They eat up the worship, which we talked about last week. They're loving it's the consumeristic view of church. What can I
But do you
consume?
think there's a place for it? I guess is what I'm saying. You're saying that you see it, and I think we all see it.
Yeah.
But is there a point at some point that it's okay to have some of these addictions within your own life, or is all addiction bad?
I think all addiction is bad. But,
yeah.
And I'm coming at that as an addict. I feel like I'm an addict. Like, I don't think I can bring my food situation under control if I don't consider myself an addict.
Right.
To be honest.
Yeah. And I would definitely agree with that. I think if any one of these things falls on the list, it's kind of one of those things you have to question whether you have, whether it's a faith, whether it's something that you believe, or whether it's like a religion, some type of system that's stuck in your head. So I think these are definitely things to look for. So if you're, for instance, if you're having if you feel like an inability to ask somebody a question, like maybe a religious person in your life, ask them a question about your faith because you're going to get in trouble or yelled at or whatever else, it should be like red flags, Same thing with the black and white. If you're forced to believe something is right or wrong and don't question it, that's like one of those things that, who was it? I think one of Boyd's book talks about the creativity and how, questioning God and being willing to use your imagination and creativity to kind of live in that world is something that should be encouraged rather than something that should be stomped out, Right. So it's okay to be creative, and God created us with these minds and, to be inquisitive, to ask these type of questions, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, how about prayer? Like, I can't tell you how many times, about when you're praying and you're not getting that answer, your prayer, say like I was doing with the weight. Well, maybe the answer is get outside and walk around the block, do something with yourself. But we're told to, dude, I've talked to so many people, as a pastor, I think I mentioned last time, I feel like I've had a calling, like God's brought people that are been hurt by the church into my life. And I couldn't even tell you how many people that have been hurting from depression, been hurting from anxieties, been hurting from all those type of things that people in the church have told them it's just a lack of faith.
Right.
It's like, you're not praying hard enough or you're not doing enough. And so they sit in this place, never looking for help. And then on top of having the depression, on top of feeling anxiety, now you're feeling guilt because you can't live up to a certain standard,
right. Which is number 3, right? Shame-based faith,
Right. Yeah.
Shame-based belief, is that. Yeah, and all that combines for, like you said, especially with depression,
Mhm.
that now you have guilt on top of it all,
Right.
that there's something wrong with your relationship with God or whatever. It's just, I don't know.
Oh, I've talked to multiple women who have had that happen to them with postpartum depression, which I don't really, that one's a hard one to understand,
Yeah.
but a lot of women suffer from that. And that's what you want to hear. That's what you hear. So it's your fault you feel this way. It's your fault you feel this way about your baby
Right.
and whatnot. There was one about sex. And there was something about women, not just sex, the physical. It was something about women that I just thought was just a great statement. I'm going to try to find it here, but probably should have got it. But I didn't want to talk about every possible freaking thing because it'd take too long.
Right.
One of them, magical thinking that God will fix you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
Yeah, it's so interesting how I don't know. Like you talked about so many of these things is like die to yourself. Like I had did we talk about that last week? Or something came up, I think, within this week about how we're supposed to die to ourselves, right? We're supposed to be essentially nothing and God is our everything.
Right.
And I think a lot of that seems like it ties into the next step is an addictive approach to faith,
Right. You could tell I'm looking for something because I'm like, yeah, right, whatever.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Whatever you're looking for. What do you have to say? Crap. I can't find it, but I did find. How about this one? Tell me you don't know a person like this, okay? How about compulsive praying, compulsive going to church or crusades, quoting scripture all the time?
Yep.
Oh, dude.
Yep.
Dude, I used to have this this lady in my life. She was in one of my first small groups because it was hip, small groups. And we'd have her husband over, and I liked them good enough, we'd play cards and like everything. Like if she got a trick, it would be like, praise Jesus for Jesus wanted me to get that trick, something like that. Or
Right.
She'd pray for, I'm like, please stop right now, Or you've seen on Survivor when they're the really overly Christian people on Survivor or The Amazing Race praying to win. I don't think God really gives a crap if you win $1 million on a TV reality show, right?
Yep.
It's just drives me crazy.
Yeah. I always like the ones that the contestants are like, I'm doing this for my son, and then they lose, Or like the first or second person out, and it's like, well, there goes. I bet their son feels real good about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's better you just don't do it for your son, and you do it for yourself. I don't know.
I guess I brought that all up just to say I've seen this stuff in my life, and there's probably even a little bit of it still in there that maybe I should start looking at it like it's an addiction in my life, and I have to be able to, because I'm trying to think to myself, even as mad as I've been, like I just said, I'm getting better. I'm trying to get better. Well, I'm kind of fearful that when I get better, I'll be sucked back in to the non-questioning black and white. I don't think it will happen for me now, but somehow I'll get plugged back into the matrix.
Yeah. I think to be part of a faith community, I think it almost has to an extent, you have to kind of fit into that mold somehow.
Right.
So I don't know if you can get away from it completely.
Well, I actually thought today for the first time, I think what I really desire right now for myself, and I'm nowhere near it ready, I'd like to start a progressive church here in town because there are none, not even close to one. Like, so if there are people looking for that.
I thought there was one in La Crosse.
Well, yeah. Well, one that's not
I think it was like a progressive Lutheran church or something.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't want to go liturgical kind of stuff,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's kind of what you're stuck with right now.
I'm probably talking about an open-mindedness, an idea of where people can come and question and ask tough questions about spirituality, and we can figure it out kind of thing.
Right. That's why that term progressive kind of scares me, is it's like, it seems like it goes into that, like the, what is it? The United, what are they?
Unitarians?
Yeah. That like type of, like in my head, that's kind of where progressive goes all the time, is those type of churches. I mean, which, like I said, is fine for some people, but it's like not.
You're in an attic.
I could possibly be comfortable in, So I think what you're looking for is more like an open church, like one that's not so.
It just cracks me up to think of where we've been and what we've talked about. To hear you say what you just said means to me that a little bit of your past is still creeping in.
Yeah, I would agree.
There's
a certain thing that I expect in a church, I guess, when I go, and when there's a bunch of really happy, smiley mid-50-year-olds that are meditating, kind of wigs me out a little bit. But
and that's a personal thing. That's fine.
Yeah.
And I don't know enough about Unitarian, but I remember going to something like that when I was a kid in high school, and you would have thought I was physically abhorrent towards it. Like my body had a reaction, my mind had a reaction, because I have been completely what's the thing? So
brainwashed.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was looking for. I was so brainwashed that anything opposite of what it was in my spectrum or in my bubble freaked me the hell out. I went to a Catholic church once, and a Catholic church freaked me the hell out.
We were told they were evil when we were younger.
Oh yeah, up and down and all this stuff.
Antichrist was the Pope.
Yeah, it was.
They're
crazy.
trying to get in my brain.
Oh yeah, Catholics were the devil when I was growing up. So,
yeah.
And ironically, the Catholic Church, I think, is doing a lot of good stuff, especially with this new Pope.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
A lot of good stuff.
So yeah, I'd like to hear some Back to Red's opinion on this idea that is God a drug? It's the idea of the addictions. I guess let us know if there's like things that you struggle with that we didn't talk about, or any questions you guys might have on that. It'd kind of be kind of neat to hear some more feedback on that.
I wish I could tell who's on without them having to ask me a question. Yeah. Like I didn't even know John and Jason were on until the questions came.
Well, at the bottom you see the number of viewers, right?
No, where's that? I don't see that.
Maybe only I can see that.
How many viewers are there?
0 right now.
We suck. We
put them all to sleep.
What we really need is someone at the end. What we really need is people to start telling other people about it, because we really got to get our momentum going again.
Yes, sir.
A little bit, don't you think? I think people need to start getting people to join our Facebook, to join it. I think I got kicked off the Progressive Christian thing.
Really? Did you try to post something or what?
Well, I went on there because I was thinking I'd like to think about doing a church, so maybe I should start going there every once in a while. I know I had hid them because they post, because otherwise there's 1,000 posts on your feed, right. So now I'm wondering, did I leave or did they kick me out? Because I'm not a part of it.
Yeah, we'll join back up.
I've a hard time to believe that they kicked me out. It's probably more likely I left because I was frustrated with all the posts I was getting on my feed, probably. Yeah. Can you hide a group?
I think you can unsubscribe to them
or something like that. Leave.
I don't know. I'm sure Google could probably tell you.
Okay, I'll figure it out.
All right.
After all, I'm the one that was still on here when it all went to hell.
All right. Well, if you want to call in and leave us a voicemail, it'd be fun to get one of those. We haven't got one of those in a while. You can call 608-618-1842. We can play that on the air and respond to you. You can send us an email, comments@backtored.com. Our Facebook group, which most of our interaction happens on. If you just go to Facebook and search for Back to Red, we should pop up. Just ask to join, and we can invite you in there. And then on Twitter, we're on Back to Red PC. Just search for that handle. You should be able to find us. And of course, like I said, we're probably going to keep doing these live things until people tell us they hate it. I guess it doesn't matter because most people still just listen to the podcast. But you can always post questions leading up to the episodes. We'll try to come up with what we'll talk about, and then you can ask questions or leave comments on those different topics.
You should probably tell them how, because honestly, I clicked it a couple times to see if I wanted to post it. I wasn't going to post a question, but I just was like, if I was a person and I wanted to post a question beforehand, how do you do it?
You just go to the page and then write a comment underneath the video. So we'll post the video for next week, and then you could just go to that page and just type in the comments right underneath the video.
Like on Facebook, you mean?
Yeah, but it's on Google Plus.
Okay. All right.
Yep. So you click on the link
on
Facebook, and then you go to Google Plus. Yep.
Okay.
So, all right. Do you have any quick recommendations this week?
I don't really have any, none that I thought of, unless you have some.
Yeah, I don't think I have any, other than don't write Merry Christmas on your Starbucks coffee cups.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else that I've been watching, or I'm reading 3 books right now.
Yeah.
I have a buddy that wrote a book. Very good. It really interesting. He put it on iBook. It's very interactive. It has videos, and it's as far as like spending time with God, creating space for God. And so I hope when it's done, right now it's in the writing, like we're proofreading it. It's part of his dissertation.
Okay.
And so I thought maybe once it's done, and if he gets it kind of published, maybe we can have him on, because it's very cool book. But I'm reading that. I've gone back to the Hebrew Bible, New Testament.
Yep.
I'm trying to read like a chapter a day, just to kind of get myself. And then I'm reading Peter Enz's book again. I think I'm like, I need a refresher in this, because it's just so much stuff there. And I really want to kind of soak it in a little bit more, rather than reading through it fast to do it on the podcast.
Yep.
Yeah. So if anyone else wants to do that, that's kind of cool too.
Get him back on. No.
It'd be nice to get him on, because I'm hoping when I do this that I'll have some extra questions maybe for him.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, like I said, look for the next video if you want to do it live, or just check us out for the next podcast.
Yeah, let's get some interaction going here. We don't want this thing to stall out. So we want some people to interact. Send us an email, send us a comment, do the voicemail thing, or and invite friends. Anybody you think that might be interested in hearing some of this stuff.
Yep.
All right.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. You have a good week.
Later. Bye.